Last week, we looked at how color can affect perception of depth or space within a two-dimensional picture, a flat picture plane. This week, we'll look at how color can affect perception of balance in a composition. Our project will be asymmetrically balanced, so not symmetrical. Balance is the distribution of visual weight in a composition. Pictorial balance refers to balance in two-dimensional art and design. So just thinking left and right is mostly what we think of when we think of pictorial balance. The stuff on the left is counterbalancing the stuff on the right, or vice versa. In pictorial balance, we imagine a center vertical axis and compare the left and right sides of the composition. One way that color and value is affecting the balance on this is that white iris here on the left side. It's got some distance from the fulcrum, which is adding to the weight, but also the color and value are adding to the weight because it's bringing attention to it. So it's a type of weight within a composition that it's pulling. You can think of like physically pulling, but yeah, it's pulling your eyes towards it, which is creating a type of weight. So symmetrical, everything's the same on the left and the right. So this is an example of symmetrical balance. The left and right sides of the composition are a mirror image of each other. They're the same elements on both sides. Asymmetrical balance. It's balanced, but not the same on both sides, on the left and right side. So the different elements counterbalance each other. It's not imbalance. Imbalance means that one side is heavier than the other visually. Asymmetrical balance means that the two sides are balanced. The different elements on the left and the right sides have equal visual weight. They're counterbalancing each other. Asymmetrical balance is counterbalancing the left and right sides. All right, so these are the rules, or the tips, or the however you want to think of it. They're tricks for thinking or for helping you with working with this subject with the visual weight. Dark colors are perceived as heavier than light. Warm colors heavier than cool. Saturated in terms of visual weight, heavier than less intense. So yeah, what's pulling your or the viewer's attention? Large shapes heavier than small. Complex heavier than simple, so like more stuff going on that's drawing your attention. And patterns and textures will also, and details will draw your attention. Things in the corners and things in the center are heavier than things in between corners in the center. So there is asymmetrical balance with this one. We've got the one on the right, it's larger, but it's all spotty. And if you squint your eyes, it would be like a light gray. But that pure black square is managing to counterbalance the big rectangle. And then the complexity, this complexity of the one on the right is counterbalancing the one on the left. It's drawing your attention. Texture. And here's an example from a famous painter, Alice Neal, of asymmetrical balance in a family portrait. This is almost like a teeter-totter with the family, with the parents being larger and 2 of them, but the 3 kids are balancing it out. Okay. Now I'm going to move on to Spline. So we're going to be doing our sketching in Spline. You just log in. So you go to spline.design, get started. You can use your Google. All right, and then how shall we call you? You can call me Kareem. All right, choose the free one. And then you're gonna go to 2D design. Then you want to put in dimensions that work with the project. We're going to be doing a 10 by 16. You know, it's leftover from last time when you were dividing your illustration board. So we divided it in half first and ended up with 2 10 by 16 pieces, and then you divided one of the 10 by 16s into 2 8 by 10s. And you should have had a 10 by 16 left over. And so we're going to use that as our final, as our painting. But we'll be doing sketchings digitally here. And you can do the sketches on your computer, and you're going to just send me screenshots of different sketches. You're going to make a rectangle. So you click on the rectangle and then you click on the screen. You want it to be 1008 by 576, which is the same proportions as 10 by 6, or yeah, 10 by 16. And it's actually 8 by 14 as well, because you're gonna make you're gonna draw a border on your illustration board. So 1008 by 576. So you can just pull this. It's a little tricky. I don't necessarily have to get exactly. I'm gonna try to get as close as I can. Okay, 1008 by 578. That's close enough. And then I'm gonna get my palette. So you're choosing one of the 6 complementary palettes you created when you did the first exercise this week with the complement mixing scales. This is what you're using for your design. You're going to use this palette. So the background is going to be one of these colors. Eyedroppers here. If you're able to get a screenshot from the assignment, you can take one of the ones from the assignment, because the colors are on at the top of the assignment instructions. So you can just do a screenshot. To do a screenshot, you do Command Shift 4. So, or control on a PC. So command or control and shift and then the number 4. And that'll give you a little, I'll show you right now. Command shift 4, it gives you these little crosshairs, and then you choose whatever you want to do a screenshot of. Or control shift 4. Or you can do command shift 3 and get your whole screen. But it'd be better to do command shift 4 if you can, because you can just select what you want. And then you'll have a screenshot. And you can pull it in here. You just drag it in here into spline. Alright, so I got a background color, and we're doing different sketches. We want to have a range. And when we paint, we can also mix with white, but you can just use this scale here just to, when you're actually painting, there might be times when it's too dark. You'll notice when you're doing, or you did notice when you did the scales, that sometimes it seemed pretty dark. So the white might come in handy for those situations. Okay, so before I make any sketches, we'll go over types of balance. We remember that pictorial balance, we imagine a center vertical axis and compare the left and right sides of the composition. So we're working with that, whether it's symmetrical or asymmetrical. There's another thing that's radial balance. Radial balance would be adding the opposite direction. But let me start with symmetrical. Symmetrical, the left and the right are the same. So I have the same stuff on either side. Like a mirror image. You can think of the beautiful Taj Mahal for symmetrical balance. So this is symmetrical. For these sketches, we're doing asymmetrical. So asymmetrical would be more like creating a balance where things are different on each side, but somehow they balance each other out. Okay, this might be working as far as balance. Maybe if I take that one away. I don't know. Yeah, that's why we're doing this, to play around with it. That might be working, or maybe this needs to be a little bigger. That's asymmetrical balance. And then there's radial balance. It would be like a mandala radial balance. And a lot of our flower designs kind of looked like a mandala. I gotta bring these things to front. Control click, bring to front. Control click or right click, bring to front. And this thing is behind, so it's divided on the vertical and horizontal axis. Whoever designed this one, maybe they had 45-degree angles too, in addition to the 90-degree angles. Which would have helped them design this. But yeah, so radial is at least having the 4 quadrants that are the same, but you could be dividing that up even further, but at least the 4 quadrants to make radial design. Okay, so now how to do the sketches. You don't need to use the dotted lines. So you're going to make shapes. We'll try out the different tools or different things here. Got rectangle, star, polygon. So I'll make a rectangle, I'll make a star. You can repeat shapes too. If you want to repeat, you hold it's Alt or Option, the button that you hold, and then you just click and drag. And you can repeat, you can change the size by pulling on the corner. How are you going to change the color? I'll show you how to do that. Just get a polygon. There's polygons, there's circles. And then the other thing that you can use is this pen tool. And you click, and if you hold down and drag, it can make a curve. If I click on that end, it'll stop it from making a new line, but I can click on it again to start again. Okay, and then I can fill that with a color by hitting plus. And then, so I made it look like the others. And then if you want to affect the color, you can hit this eyedropper and you're going to choose one of your colors. And if you still have this pen tool thing happening, you can hit the control or command button and then X that out and go back to all the regular set of tools. Hit color, choose another color. So yeah, we're playing with distance from the fulcrum, different colors on our scale, different values, different amount of detail, different sizes, and seeing what happens as far as the balance, how the balance is affected. If I wanted to change the value or the saturation of one of the ones on the scale, that's fine. Saturation is left to right, value is up and down. I can go darker, and I could also make it more saturated to the right or less to the left. It'll just end up being chromatic gray over here. Oh, and this one's still very dark, but let's go with a different one of the colors on the scale. So yeah, I'll do that, and then I'll just make this one a darker value. Okay, so this is actually feeling pretty balanced, but I might want to make this a little bit bigger. and maybe add some detail to that or something, because it's kind of boring me, but you don't want to bore yourself. Don't do that. Let's see. Okay, that's a little bit more interesting. Maybe make this one a little bigger. Alright, so I'm naturally I want to make it balanced, but and that's fine. This composition is almost too balanced. What if you try to mess up the balance and then fix it? Alright, so that's out of balance because there's nothing on the right side. I'll bring in something. Repetition is also helpful too. Maybe I'll do another star that's a different color. Bring this back, but I'll go with that. No. That, and maybe I'll go lighter in value, brighter value, and then this thing, I'll bring this to front, control, bring to front, or it's control click or right click, have that sticking up behind that. And then my frame is this background rectangle, so that the things going out of the frame aren't really part of the composition. That balanced, this feels balanced. I kind of want to bring this all the way across. This feels pretty balanced. Maybe I need to go a little bit. So what I had it balanced, but it was kind of boring, and then I unbalanced it and balanced it again. And now it feels pretty balanced. Yeah, and rotation, you can rotate over here. Just try out the different degrees and see what it does for you. Now I feel like I need to bring this, I needed something over there. Oops, I don't want the pen tool. Adding some complexity. Okay. There we go. Okay. That's pretty good. Alright. I'm still messing with it and still trying to get a balance going. Alright. I think I like that. So once you have an arrangement of shapes and values and amount of detail and color and all that, you do a screenshot. Control or Command Shift 4, number 4. So you're pressing Command or the Control button and Shift and 4 at the same time. I always start with my Command button, then my Shift button, then my 4 button. But I keep the Command button down, then hold the Shift and keep that down, and then I press the number 4. And then after I press 4, I can let go of all that. And then you get these crosshairs, and you can select the edge of your background rectangle. I don't want the stuff outside of it. And then that's my first sketch right there. And I'll make another one. But yeah, you're going to make 4 sketches. Let me make one more sketch. So I'm going to get rid of all this stuff. And then I'm going to change my background color too. You can select multiple things by doing that. By dragging and selecting more than one thing. I actually don't know how to unlock something that was locked. So, and we have to lock it so that we're not moving it around when we're moving around the other things. So I'm just going to make a new rectangle that's the same size. and unlock the new rectangle. Give it a new color. Let's go on this end of the scale. Maybe not all the way to the end, not prismatic, maybe that one. Okay, and then I want to lock this, control or right click, lock. All right, so that's locked. Now I can try my shapes again. This time I'm going to start with pen tool. Make like a big S curve in the background. Give it a fill. Use the eyedropper here. Go with color, and then got to control click on the screen to get out of the pen tool, and now I can X out of those tools to get the normal tools, and then I can mess with this. I can change the saturation down a little bit. I could bring the value down a little bit, perhaps. Maybe I can change the size. Maybe I'll try another one that's going in another direction. I'll rotate that. Yeah, there. Maybe change that color. Okay, and then I kind of want a star. Rotate my star and change my star's color. Okay, this is boring. I need something else behind. I need more overlap, I think. So let me grab a polygon. I'll put this behind that S. Get it prismatic. So we want to have a range of values and saturation levels. So, I mean, I'll go a little bit darker with that one. And I said I wanted it behind, so I'll bring this one to front. So a little bit of overlap is making it more interesting, and then maybe this can be darker too. It feels out of balance, so I mean, I could change the size, right? That helps. I could undo. Command Z is undo. I could change the value to balance it out, make it darker, and that helps with balancing it out a little bit. I can change, does it have a stroke on it? I don't want a stroke on it, so if you don't want to, I don't want the outline, so I'm going to just put 0. If you do want an outline, then that's up to you, but I didn't want one, so I put it to 0. Yeah, detail, I mean, the value helped. Let me undo and go back to where it was. We're out of balance. And I'll go back to getting rid of the stroke again. The stroke is the outline. I'll put it at 0. Okay. What about detail? So if I like made this more detailed, I'll dupe it and then put a darker one, slightly darker one next to it. Yeah, so there's a little bit more interest, more detail. That's helping. I'll do another one. Go a little bit darker. Something like that. So that works. I mean, it added some complexity, and that's adding more weight on the right side. All right, then if I'm happy with that, I do Command Shift 4. This is my sketch number 2. You're going to make 4 of them. There's my second sketch, and I like the way it looks. So that's how we're going to do these sketches, and then next week we'll be doing a painted version on the 10 by 16 illustration board. Okie doke. Thank you.